Blacklist Hunter here, and today we're going to talk about Pro Hunter Kite and give objective facts, truth on why this Nen master is a real warrior, very strong. Now let's begin with the most cool fact about Kite. He learned how to use Nen and develop his Hatsu by the most talented user of Nen, a top 5 Nen user in the world, Jing Freaks himself. Jing definitely saw some talent in Kite, that he actually stayed in one place, spent his time to train this guy. So Kite definitely had some real nice talent and potential that Jing saw in him and decided to actually teach Kite all the basics and even how to develop a strong Hatsu. I gotta admit personally that the trait I like the most about Kite is that he is a stoic character, but at the same time he is pretty tough and nice-hearted. So just like Jing stated, good hunters are well liked by animals, a quote that Kite remembers, and that it's true not only for the main character Gon but even Kite himself. In the 2011 anime version, we saw a younger Kite living with dogs in the worst of slums, and there he met Jing. That could be the reason why Jing was interested in Kite, because he saw how dogs protected and stayed close to him, showing true bond and love. Kite is one of the few true Nen masters we see in the series. He has achieved almost very high level mastery of Nen. I personally consider Satos, for example, a high level Nen user on first impression. So Kite, in my view, is a very high level Nen user on par with Hisoka, Chrollo, Illumi, Razor and such individuals. Now, if you ask me, can Kite actually defeat these characters? Honestly, my view is that he has a chance of winning, but in very high difficulty, and a huge factor is the environment of the battle. But definitely Kite has what it takes to take out Hisoka, Chrollo and such. Kite has intimidated some of the strongest Chimera ants. Kite truly has some real intimidating aura, man, and it's not me glazing Kite. I can give you some examples. When Kite was in NGL with Gon and Killua, they encountered Ramot. Yes, I know, I hate the guy as well, but if you saw what pose Kite did when Ramot wanted to attack him, man, Kite has one of the coolest poses in all of Hunter x Hunter. The way that Kite activates that aura, man, it's special, alright. So Ramot definitely understood he was outclassed. He still tried to attack, but Kite was too fast. But in reality, Kite would had cooked Ramot with 3% of his power. Moving on, we got Yunju. We didn't see the fight in the manga, but in the anime, Yunju was outperformed. Just like Ramot, he felt the pressure of Kite's aura. And if you look at Kite, man, he is just bored and serious. Kite wasn't intimidated by Yunju at the slightest bit. You could say he didn't know how to use Nen, but the way Kite fought and moved, it was truly wonderful. And he finished Yunju in style, a shot to the head with his rifle, instant KO. Yunju got cooked. So Kite's ability is also one of the coolest Hatsu we've seen. Kite basically summons a Nen beast called Crazy Slots, and this clown can even talk, and it can roll a number from 1 to 9, and each number is linked to a weapon. So far from Kite, we have seen the carbine, the scythe and the staff. Now we cannot deny Kite has some real presence and a really powerful aura. If you take a look when Gon, Killua and Kite got surrounded by Chimera ants, even though they were much more in numbers, Kite wasn't bothered at all. He let Gon and Killua fight for a bit so they could improve. Then he brought out the most intimidating and cool weapon so far, the scythe. Even the frog Chimera ant was like, what is this? I felt this before. So what the frog felt was a malicious presence that would result in his death. The way that Kite said jump in 3 seconds to Gon and Killua and slashed every Chimera ant in the field, which by the way they were not that weak. The silent watts basically not only destroyed the Chimera ants, it cut down the whole forest. That's a scary range it has. Now not only Ramot, Yunju and the frog were intimidated by Kite's aura, even Leol in the anime saw that he was outclassed by Kite. Kite ultimately kept following Leol's team with one of the most impressive executions of Nen, meaning N, in a radius of almost 50 meters. We all know this fact that Kite was using N, but he kept using this immensely difficult application of Nen in such a prolonged time that even Phantom Troop members can't achieve. Kite kept N on all night and still was executing it perfectly, tracking Leol and his squad up until the point Kite encountered Pito. So Kite actually touched Pito's N, and many people don't know or forget this fact. Kite actually touched Pito's N on purpose to see how strong the adversary was, how strong the enemy was. However, when Kite touched Pito's N, he saw it was a monstrous aura, and then Pito felt Kite and decided to go out of the nest and test her own strength. So Kite is really a good dude, man. He was like, get away from me, meaning Gon and Killua. He took such a liking to them both that he told Gon and Killua to run so he can fight alone. He didn't want them to get executed by Pito. Pito. Kite knew that Pito was the strongest adversary he had ever faced. He even got a little bit nervous. Kite's experience in fighting in combat is so vast that he knew it was a whole monster. So with one arm, Kite came face to face with Pito, and what he did was simply do the hand motion, which I love, to bring out the crazy slots, clown meaning his Hatsu, and man, even the clown knew he was in some deep trouble, and that's why I love Kite, never being intimidated in face of true difficulty. Kite knew it may be his last fight, but he still chose to try and stand his ground to fight. Ultimately, he received the mace by his Hatsu. We don't really know how much time he spent fighting Pito, but Kite was so impressive in combat and tough that even with one arm he managed to bruise and injure Pito. And man, Pito got so amazed at Kite's skills that she decided to bring him back so she could fight Kite again. Kite basically died in their battle. However, it was impossible, and ultimately Kite got reincarnated as a Chimera Ant. Man, I love Kite so much. Even in the 1999 anime, I absolutely loved him with a sword and everything. The way that Kite conducts himself, the way his character is, he's a really special Nen user. He may not be the toughest Nen user, but he is certainly very impressive. And really, that's all I had to say about Kite, man. I can say a lot of things about Kite. I can glaze him for like 20 minutes, but definitely subscribe, man, if you're new to the channel. I do weekly Hunter x Hunter content, and I'll see you guys in the next Hunter x Hunter video.